Hi, I lied to you. I'm actually going to do 50 Shades now because I was originally going to do chapter 10 and realized I had already read it. So, that's right, I did it 10 and I did part of 11 because I went over the contract. I don't want to go over the contract again because it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages long. So I'm not going to do it, but basically it says, you'll do what I want to my standards, and that includes eating when I want, eating what and when I want you to, sleeping however long I want you to, and bark, 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 bark. And she says, I can't even bring myself to consider this. Borp, 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 borp. How could I agree to it? And she scoffs angrily. It's like, you're not bad. Get over it. Ah, fuck you. My phone. I mean, my computer charger. Sorry. This is real life, folks. Oh, no, I've lost my place. Okay, where am I? Derp, derp, derp. And she's just going over these things in her head as though, you know, oh my gosh, these are terrible, these are awful. And if I were reading something that was just so offensive to me I couldn't even stand it, I would just take it and bye. That's it. That's done. But no, she keeps, like, reading it. And then at the bottom, not at the bottom, but she keeps going on, and then she starts daydreaming about how he has beautiful eyes, captivating, intelligent, deep, and dark, dark with dominant secrets. And she has to press her thighs together. Okay, now the thing I love about this, there is one clause in here that she is obsessive over, and that's the fact that it says the submissive will not look into the dominant's eyes as a sign of respect. Now, I'm going to ignore that. I'm just going to keep going. I'm just keep going. And she says, this is too much to handle, and this is no way to have a relationship. If you have finitely decided that this is outside of you, why, you shouldn't even consider just going for it. And then she's saying, oh, I need to go to bed. Maybe I should borrow Kate's pajamas because they're cuddly. Why don't you go buy your own cuddly pajamas, you dumbass? And her inner goddess is jumping up and down, clapping her hands like a 5-year-old. Please, let's do this. Otherwise we'll end up alone with lots of cats and your classic novels to keep you company. And at the bottom, she actually asks herself, am I submissive? Oh, gee, I don't know. Your whole personality basically says, hi, my name is Anastasia, the submissive steel. Fuck you. She goes, I need a clean head. You don't actually have one to begin with. And then the next day, Kate comes away to her, goes, I've been calling you, and you must have been out because Kate's been running. And Anna looks at her clock and realizes she slept for 9 hours, and she has like a freak out. Why is that bad? I think anyone I know would gladly accept 9 hours of sleep and not freak out about it in the slightest, to just be excited about it. And Kate says, oh, there's a man with a delivery for you. I'm like, why couldn't you sign for it? You had to go wake her up. Well, I mean, I guess it's a signature confirmation. And she comes downstairs, and the delivery guy is a smart young man with a ponytail who smiles in a charming, professional way. And he says, I have a package for you, but I need to set it up and show you how to use it, which I don't even fucking know any kind of package delivery service at all that would do this for you. And so she asks, what is it? And Kate's saying it's like, you know, it's a big box, and it looks interesting. He goes, it's a MacBook Pro. Let me just be straight. I have a MacBook Pro. The thing does not come in a big box. I could probably show you, actually. Hold on. Ugh, I'm doing a lot of moving today. This is the box mine came in. See how big it is in comparison to me? It's my head. And it comes in another box, a bigger box, but it's not even, like, huge. I was anticipating when I first read this that he'd bought her, like, a treadmill or something ridiculous. And the guy starts going over all these specifications, and he goes, oh, I set up your Me account, which, for those of you who are not Mac users, it's a kind of, sort of like their equivalent of the cloud server. And she goes, what's that? Your email address. And she's like, I have an email address? Even though earlier I didn't mention this, when asked what she was going to do with the computer, she said, email? Ugh. So she opens it and realizes she has an email from Christian Grey, which means he has set up the thing. And it says, your new computer is the subject. And he's just like, I hope you slept well. If you have any questions, let me know, blah, blah, blah. And Anastasia decides that she's going to change the subject to your new computer, parentheses, on loan. And she says, I thought it was on loan. He replies, yes, it's on loan, indefinitely. And she changes the subject again to inquiring minds and says, I have many questions. I can't ask them through email. And then he responds, changing the subject back to your new computer, parentheses, again on loan. Do they not know how email works? You just reply and the subject keeps adding re to it, like re. There's no re's at all here. Like I don't know if you can see it, but see your new computer. Oh, that's not the way it's supposed to. I can't see anything. That was a failure. But and then she's all grinning like hee. Okay, so and then she goes to work. And they have the most pointless little passage here. It's this little passage here where Jose comes and they go get coffee after he smiles his all Hispanic American smile, which to me just sounds unnecessary. But it was just there for no reason. Then she gets home and starts emailing again with the subject working for a living. Oh, he emails her. And she responds back without changing the subject. And then he responds back, but he changes the subject then to do the work. You should be researching. And she responds back with the subject nuisance. He responds back with the subject impatient. She goes back with the subject internet research. And he does internet research again and says no more emails until you have actual questions. And she responds bossy in the subject line. His response is the subject line in control. And by the way, in case you're wondering, yes, there is actual content to the emails, but it's stupid and boring. I'm just more entertained by the fact that they always change the subject line, because who the fuck does that? And then she goes to Wikipedia as submissive. And she's asking herself, like, do I really want all this stuff? And then she says, I sit staring at the screen. A part of me, a very moist and integral part of me that I've only become acquainted with very recently is seriously turned on. Oh my god. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind! Like, oops. What the hell was that? No. Anyway, it's just like, I don't understand. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. You know, I don't know what to do right now. And really nothing happens in that chapter except the contract is introduced and she gets a computer. Whoopee, that's it. Chapter 12, she wakes up, no, she doesn't wake up, she voluntarily goes for a run. And she puts on her nasty, never-used sneakers. I mean, why are they nasty if they've never been used? Like, I've had shoes that I haven't worn in a long time in my closet, and they're just dusty. They're not nasty. They just need to be, like, brushed off a little bit. I don't understand that mentality. It is ridiculous. Whatever. Like, what are you doing to your shoes when you're not wearing them that they get nasty? And she decides to put her hair into pigtails to go for a run, which is, I don't know how long her hair is supposed to be, but that is seriously impractical. I've never seen somebody intentionally put their hair in pigtails and go running. You put it in a ponytail so it stays out of your face. If they're in pigtails, they're like in your face. And she ignores Kate on her way out, and she starts running with Snow Patrol blaring in her ears. I don't know who Snow Patrol is. And she sets off into the opal and aquamarine dusk. Let me just tell you something. Dusks around me, at any rate, definitely are not opal and aquamarine. They're more like, dear God, a car is coming, get out of the fucking road. Whoops, sorry, computer screen died. She's like, what am I going to do? Again, because she's talking about it. Now she's thinking, well, maybe I should negotiate the parts that I do and don't want. Which, okay, I mean, if you're considering it, that's fine. But, I mean, earlier it made it sound like it was just so out of her league. It's just, ugh. And then she starts wondering, why is he even like this? And then she stops beside a large spruce tree, which, let me just tell you, if I've been running and I get tired, I don't know what the fuck kind of tree is next to me. It's a tree. And she's dragging precious air into her lungs. And she says she needs to email him her thoughts. And here's the part where I start, like, not being able to understand. Actually, that started at chapter 1. But, I mean, this is one of the more questionable parts of the chapter. And she goes home, and Kate was buying clothes for her vacation to Barbados. Mainly bikinis and sarongs. I don't know about you, but I own 2 swimsuits. 1 bikini and 1 one-piece. And then when I'm going on vacation somewhere, my first thought is, oh wow, I need to go, like, add to my fucking collection of bikinis. Like, you really don't need more than 1. Maybe 2 if you want to, like, get some real variety going. Like, I have 2 swimsuits. And at the most swimsuits I ever had, I had 3 because I had 1 for swim team and then 2 for leisure, and I was in, like, transitioning sizes. So I needed, like, anyway. And she decided to send him an email. And the subject is shocked of WSUV, which I'm not even going to lie, I don't know what that means, and if you do, please tell me. And it says, okay, I've seen enough. It was nice knowing you. And she says she's laughing at her little joke. I'm like, why is that a joke? I don't get it. That's not funny to me. It's just, if I got an email like that, I'd be like, what the hell did I do? Like, especially if it was someone that, like, a friend of mine, I'd be like, the fuck, why are you even mad? But whatever, it's her, so she's like, I don't know, packing, and I don't know why they're packing. And it now is 9 o'clock, and she plugs in her iPod to listen to more Snow Patrol, and rereading the contract, and for some reason she looks up, and she realizes that Christian Grey's standing in the doorway of her fucking bedroom like a creep. That's not normal. But anyway, and he's wearing gray flannel pants and a white linen shirt and twirling his car keys, which for some reason reminds me of an indie film. And he just says, you know, hi, and she's mute and struck deaf and struck everything and paralyzed by him because he's gloriously yummy and his pants are doing that hanging from the hips thing, whatever, and he's here in her bedroom because, like a fucking stalker, he thinks that he can just do that. Like, I would be really concerned if I sent someone an email that said, nice knowing you, and they popped up in my bedroom. Anyway, he comes and sits on her bed, and she has a flip-out attack and goes, I mean, not to anybody, but to me it would have been much more funny if she actually did. And of course her room is all white, which to me is like a symbol of purity. And she goes, what does she say? How? And he goes, I'm still at the Heathman. I'm like, that's not the answer to the question. How? I mean, he could have been like, I drove here. That's the answer. And he asks if she'd like a drink, and he goes, it was nice knowing me, with the italics, the nice knowing me. And she's like, is he offended? I don't know. He's clearly psychopathic, but that's not the question you're asking. And he then does the, are you biting your lower lip deliberately? It's like, haven't you figured out by now that with her it's a nervous tick? It's involuntary. Like, sometimes when I'm nervous, I do to my fingers. And he undoes her pigtails, and he goes, so you decided on some exercise. It's so sexual. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to see when I come into my room. A sweaty-ass person in sweatpants with pigtails. It's freaky. And she's, like, flipping out. And he goes, and you decided it was nice knowing me. Do you mean knowing me in the biblical sense? I put a lol next to that, so it's kind of funny. And she goes, I didn't think you're familiar with the Bible, which is not funny. I thought I should come remind you how nice it was knowing me. And she says that desire, acute, liquid, and smoldering, combusts deep in her belly, which sounds like a really uncomfortable feeling. Like, whenever something's gurgling in my stomach, I'm running for the bathroom, because that's not a good sign. And then she's like, he wants me. This beautiful man wants me. Not Kate in her little bikinis, not one of the 15, not evil Mrs. Robinson. My inner goddess glows so bright she could light up Portland. And he asks if you trust me. And then he pulls out of his pants pocket the tie that he tied her together with earlier, because he just fucking carries that thing around with him like a weirdo, and ties her to the headboard, takes off her sneakers, even though she's like, dude, I've just been running, my feet are gross. And he's like, well, if you struggle, I'll tie your feet, and if you make a noise, I'll gag you. Keep quiet, because Kate's probably outside. Yes, because that's how I show people I want them to sign a contract with me. If I show up at their house and, like, basically rape them and say, oh, but don't make any noise, your roommate's here. And she's biting her lip again. And then he takes her t-shirt and, like, ties it over her head so she can't see, and then goes, I'm gonna go get a drink, which I thought was hilarious. I wanted him to just leave her there until she, like, flipped, but he came back, and he's, like, kissing her, and he's got wine and draining the wine in her, and there's sex, and now you have to keep still, and, oh, please, shall I fuck? And then he's like, what do you want? She goes, you, and he goes, shall I fuck you this way, or this way, or this way? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he gets another foil packet out and asks, how nice is this? And she's like, I bet it is a joke. And he's like, are you laughing now? She's like, no, I mule. She mules like a kitten. And I don't know, they have sex, and and I don't want to, this is all boring. And then he starts kissing her, and then it gets really, like, intense, not, like, sexy intense, but, like, intense, and then he's like, what are you doing to me? And she's like, I could say the same to you. They're whispering, by the way. And then he leaves, and she closes the door, and suddenly she wants to cry. I don't even know why. Like, I don't know, like, they had awesome sex, and all of a sudden she's like, ah! And Kate comes in, because she's like, why are you crying? And you never cry, and I'm just like, fucking really, because she's the kind of person to cry over everything. And she says, I'd say he was smitten with you, and Anna says, he just came here to fuck me. And she, I don't know, then she gets jealous of Kate again, because Kate's found a normal man. Elliot, I think Christian's like half-brother or full brother. And then Christian sends her an email with the subject of this evening and says, I look forward to receiving your notes. Sleep well, baby. And then she sends it back with the subject of issues, and she has a bunch of clauses in here that that she basically brings up a whole lot of the unreasonable things, like, but there's one point that I don't get where she goes with the sleep thing. He wanted her to sleep 8 hours per day. She says, I'll agree to 6. I don't know any adult that would be like, no, I want to cut that down. I would be like, ooh, what, like 10? 10, I can do 10. No, she's like weird. And then she goes, as long as I only have to wear your clothes when I'm with you, okay. But considering the clothes he's probably going to buy you are really, really nice, why not just wear them? What else are you doing with your starry life? And he asks her, why are you still up? And she sends a subject back of burning the midnight oil, which just makes me want to gag, and says, I was going through this list when I was distracted and embedded by a passing control freak. And he replies, stop burning the midnight oil with all caps, go to bed, Anastasia! And she's like, shouty capital! How can he intimidate me when he's 6 miles away? Because you're submissive and you're a mouse. And you're annoying. Go fuck yourself. I don't think this is nearly as funny as my other chapters, but the thing is, I'm just getting so fed up with this because these 2 chapters in particular made me really angry. And I'm gonna lay down and we're gonna have a talk. This is gonna be a longer video than normal. But here's the thing. I'm all for people, anyone, voluntarily participating in a dismissive, that's my new word, in a dismissive relationship where there's a dom and a sub. And I feel like if you voluntarily would like to do this, that's fine. But it's clear that she's showing very reasonable apprehensions, considering A, she doesn't know anything about the scene, and B, she's a virgin. I mean, these are not bad things at all. These are just... I mean, these are perfectly normal things for her to be experiencing, these fears. And instead of trying to gently bring her into the scene and acclimate her to it, he's just like, nope, let's go. And I just think that's completely rude. And for a while, well, actually every year I help with the DC's local fetish ball, and there's all kinds of signs up and all kinds of unspoken rules of consent is very, very important. Like, don't touch without asking, don't do this, don't participate in this if you're not invited, etc., etc. And respect is a big part of the kink community. And this book is just illustrating the stereotypical version of a dominant person who's just going to shove you around regardless of what you say. And I don't like that because it's completely unrealistic. And I'm sure that there's probably some people who were thrust kind of wholeheartedly into the scene and liked it, but I don't think a lot of people would be very comfortable with that if they've never experienced it before. And so these 2 chapters just really pissed me off because she was like, oh, okay. And he just like showed up at her house like a total creeper. This book is so wrong. And the fact that it just pisses me off because so many people were reading it and thinking, yeah, this is what the scene is like. It's not. The scene is built on consent and respect. And, you know, not fucking stalking people and making them do things. It wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be. I'm sorry, but this whole chapter, both chapters, just made me really angry. I'm hoping it gets more lulz-worthy as we keep going. I don't know what else is going to happen in here. I heard there's like a masquerade ball, but I don't know if that's in this book or if it's one of the next ones. I really hope it's in this one because that sounds hilarious. And if it's not, it means that I just can't fucking read and it's somewhere else and I don't remember. So, yeah. Thanks for having me back. Let me know what you think. And please tell me if the masquerade ball's in here or not, because if it's not, I'm going to be really disappointed. And if you do know, let me know if there's anything interesting coming up. Like, you don't have to tell me too much about it, but just be like, oh, by the way, they go to the carnival. Or something silly. So anyway, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like and favorite, leave me comments, please comments. I love talking to you guys, and I know a bunch of you really, really like my posters, so I think next time I'm going to try to get a better view. But yeah, here's some of the posters people keep commenting on. Black Butler poster. Oh, and over back here is the Inuyasha poster people keep talking to me about. And I have a How to Train Your Dragon poster. You can't really see it. It's over here. An Ariete poster. Hunger Games. Katy Perry, Star Trek, Shug on Cafe, and my head's in the way of everything. So yeah, I'll try to get a different view in here, add some variety. But, like, subscribe, comment. No spoilers, please. Because if you spoil it for me, it won't be funny when I get there. Okay? Okay. Bye.